The International Monetary Fund's predicting the worldwide recovery will strengthen this year as output in richer nations picks up. But it's warning that recovery is not evenly robust, with rising risks in emerging economies, and it's worried about the effects of rising inequality on global growth, which is set to be 3.6% this year.
The recovery, which was starting to take hold in October, is becoming not only stronger but also broader. The various brakes which limited growth are being slowly loosened. Put simply, the recovery is strengthening.
US growth should be 2.8% this year, the Eurozone 1.2%, China 7.5% and Japan 1.4%. Next year, the IMF sees slight increases in the US and the Eurozone, falls in China and Japan. It has sharply raised its forecast for British growth to 2.9% this year, easing to 2.5% next year. In its twice-yearly World Economic Outlook, the IMF says politicians need to come up with more ideas to raise the world's productive capacity and avoid a prolonged period of sluggish growth. Growth in the Eurozone is expected for the first time in 3 years, despite the region's high unemployment, with even Spain's economy due to expand by almost 1% this year. The IMF repeated warnings about the very low level of inflation in the Eurozone, calling again for stimulus from the European Central Bank. But it's what people can't afford to buy that's also worrying the fund's economists.
In its outlook, the IMF also points to a potentially dangerous trend that may dominate the scene, and that is rising inequality. Until recently, it was not seen as having a major impact on economic developments, but this belief is now called into question, which means that in Europe and the United States, the debate over minimum wage and economic justice will become tougher. Stefan Grobe, Euronews, Washington.